Hello everyone, and welcome to part 16 of my Tsukihime, A Piece of Blue Glass Moon dramatic reading. Last we left off... Oh gosh, I don't remember. What did we do? Hold on, let me see the... Did we meet up with... Oh, okay, we met up with... Oh! I remember now. Alright. So, we went to school. We talked to Arihiko. He told us about an abandoned hospital that had some suspicious circumstances. And we went there, and Shiki was real tired. And I'm aware of the fact that you probably shouldn't be doing things that are dead ends that, like, exhaust Shiki because it'll lead to a bad end over time. So... I went back and decided to not go, and then we got back to where we left off. So, with that understood, let us continue. Alright. Let's get down to business, Arcueid. We're going to be looking for vampires just like yesterday, right? Oh, so we were. There's no need for you to take off your glasses tonight. Just follow along behind me. Oh, it tastes real bad. We stroll through excuse me. We stroll through the city's evening glow. Arcueid said that she had a specific destination in mind, but hasn't let me in on the details. As a result, it feels more to me as though the two of us are simply taking a leisurely stroll together through the city streets. Tonight I'll have you look at some locations I pinpointed. We'll start with the most bustling one. So saying, Arcueid turns us in the direction of the downtown area by the station. The city doesn't sleep, even though it's now past 10 o'clock. An array of various sounds and lights all line up to create an exhibit of civilization. Through that city, where fashions change every few months, passes the vampire in white, her figure unchanged through the centuries. No, perhaps centuries is a bit of an exaggeration. I just remember hearing that vampires are immortal and can live more or less forever. So it felt appropriate. It felt like an appropriate word somehow. Shiki, look at that building over there. The narrow one that's 6 stories tall. Do you see any lines on the people entering? They seem normal. There aren't any dead going in or out. So it's a miss. On to the next one then. Right. Put your glasses back on. The next one's quite far, so don't push yourself too hard. Arcueid had mentioned this afternoon that she'd made some educated guesses where the dead might be patrolling. It turned out that she found 6 places in total. The first 2 were misses, but the third, a rental building, was a hit. The security guard going in and out of the vacant tenant rooms was a cluster of lines of death. The look on my face told Arcueid everything she needed to know. She entered the room, leaving me in the corridor, and came back out again a minute later, unruffled. I'm sorry. This place was also a miss. It was just a low-ranking ghoul. You picked over the area pretty exhaustively yesterday, so they're on high alert. Although it was faint, I could sense a hint of disappointment from Arcueid, as she shrugged her shoulders. What are you smiling about? Is it really that fun to watch me fail? No, that's not it. I was just marveling at the fact that even someone as carefree as you has their down moments. What do you mean by that? I can break and destroy things just like anyone else. I would have preferred it if she had said she can feel sad and troubled just like anyone else. Instead. But since that's probably a tall order for her, I just keep my mouth shut. We sneak out of the rental building and head down toward our next destination. The time is close to midnight. As one would expect, there aren't as many pedestrians about, and the lit neon lights are also becoming fewer and farther between. The brake lights of passing cars. Arcueid dances down the street like she's trying to catch up to them. After striking out a 5th time, we head to our final destination. It appears to be in the residential district. Arcueid doesn't say it, but I could somehow tell that this was going to be the real deal. Man, I understand why we have to do it, but it's still a pain in the ass. Being reduced to investigating on foot like this just feels so hopelessly old-fashioned. Wait, that might be the other way around, fuck. Alright, let me try that again. Man, I understand why we have to do it, but it's still a pain in the ass. Being reduced to investigating on foot like this just feels so hopelessly old-fashioned. Slaying vampires has been a hassle ever since the early days. We're searching the entire city for the location of the Sire's coffin. It's not exactly going to be easy. I see. If that's the case, it's... Oh, wait. I'm not saying I hate it or anything. I just thought you'd find it annoying as well, that's all. I can't say I really mind it. It's a paint-by-numbers affair. So long as we methodically check off one step after the other, we'll get there eventually. I absent-mindedly respond with a simple I see. When it comes to vampire slaying, Arcueid is coolly rational. She will doggedly pursue and complete any tasks that might bring her even one step closer to her goal, no matter how menial they may be. I suppose that even if you're able to jump 10 meters in the air, it doesn't mean all your behavior is equally over the top. Now that I think about it, the same was true on the day we first met. If she wanted to, she's more than capable of pulling off the same stunts as Vlav. In spite of that, she simply blended in with the crowd and searched for vampires without throwing human society into disarray. What is it? Is there something wrong with my face? You'll trip if you aren't looking where you're going. Wait, was that the other way around? Fuck, it was the other way around. Nope, that's not the button I wanted. Shit, there we go. What is it? Is there something wrong with my face? You'll trip if you aren't looking where you're going. Yeah, this is... No, stop! Fuck. There we go. Yeah, this is really strange, isn't it? Hey, do you really not mind being here with me? Does the fact that we're hunting vampires not scare you? There we go. Huh? I couldn't help but raise my voice in response to the sudden question. Or rather, in response to the fact that she's only now asking it. She wants to know if I mind being here with her. I know the answer to that without even having to think about it. I don't mind. Being okay with it or not is splitting hairs, though. Our partnership is based on mutual interest, after all. Of course I'm afraid of vampires, but I'll put up with it for the sake of the city. Mutters Arcueid, seemingly convinced. With that, our conversation comes to a halt. In complete silence, we walk down the deserted sidewalk. We are a long way from the station now. We may not have much to show as a result of the past 2 hours, but strangely enough, it doesn't feel like time was wasted. The problem hasn't been resolved, but we definitely prevented the situation from becoming worse. Perhaps riding that feeling of fulfillment. But it feels nice to not have to worry. I speak the feelings I've never put into words before. Shiki? I mean, I can rest easy after all. I'm, well, basically a good-for-nothing. Having someone as strong as you around is, well, how do I put this? It's reassuring. My heart can be at peace. My vision is broken. Tohno Shiki's cognition is corrupted. You are something that should not even exist. Those obvious conclusions that I've lived with for the past 7 years, they all seem to fade away when I'm with her. Hey, Shiki. Are you saying that you enjoy having me around? Quite the opposite. I mean, I'm hanging out with a terrifying vampire, right? That's a recipe for disaster. The only thing I can take solace in is that at least things can't get any worse. What exactly about me is so terrifying? Oh, don't get me started. There's the fact that even after I killed you, you came back to life and chased after me. Your ability to treat temperatures of over 3,000 degrees Celsius like they're nothing. The incident with the duct tape. The fact that you leapt all the way to the top of the building. The way you made a total mess of the area in front of the station. And the fact that you used all of your power to protect me from Vlov's cold waves. Not to mention that time you flipped an entire slab of bedrock over, or when you smeared that mysterious substance all over someone's body. Oh, and let's not forget showing up at my school in the middle of the day. Right, I think that's enough. I've heard your thoughts loud and clear. Are you sure? I still have a few more to go. It's fine, I get the picture. Well, I am just a vampire after all. Arcueid ups the pace and starts speeding off. Hey, wait for me! I can't keep up if you race off like that. I also break off into a light jog and chase after her, retreating back. Our 6th destination is now around the corner. It was right in the middle of the residential area. An utterly unremarkable 4-story apartment complex. Nothing unusual about it. Every floor has around 4 units, most of which have lights on. The residents have yet to go to sleep, and are each passing the time in their own way. Whether those activities are above board or not isn't something that people looking in from the outside can know for sure. I can see the lines. The weight on my brain makes me want to throw up. This place is strange. The lines running along the buildings are extremely ordinary, but there's something oddly chilling about them. Perhaps it was the brilliant white of light leaking from the rooms. Or maybe it was the woman just returning to the apartment, on whose body the lines of death drew a dense, whirling maelstrom. Yeah, this one is definitely a hit. Rather than heading for the entrance to the complex, Arcueid sets off down the slope leading to the underground garage. A shutter has been lowered over the entrance. It looks like an ordinary apartment complex, but is this it, Arcueid? Yeah. A barrier has been erected over the shutter that wards off people that both wards off people and masks the scent of the dead inside. Is that a camera over there? It's possible they've caught sight of me. but the dead inside have already lost their chance to escape. If I'd shown up here alone during the day, they'd have been able to get away, though. Arcueid stoops down and puts her hands on the edge of the shutter. I thought she would pull it off in one go, but... Shiki, can you cut this shutter? Well, yeah, I can, but is that okay? Yeah. You're better suited to this task than I am. If I were to open it by force, I'd set off the alarm, wouldn't I? She does have a point. Now that the time has come to act, Arcueid is totally level-headed. You should stay by the entrance of this garage. If this is their nest, then there's probably around 10 of those undead waiting inside. You may be stronger in a one-on-one, but if there's 2 or more of them, you'll be at a disadvantage. It's not like I'm that... well, whatever. Alright, here we go. I sever the lines on the shutter. With a crashing sound, the iron door falls onto the concrete floor. I peer through the hole cut in the shutter into the inky blackness beyond. Ugh, what the hell is this smell? A repulsive odor. The smell of rotting flesh pervades the inside of the garage, and the air is heavy with the scent of blood. A group forms, each member a squirming mass of lines. They must have noticed that they had visitors as soon as I cut through the shutter. In total, there are 22 of them. With that many dead around, there's no doubt that this place is their sire's stronghold. Arcueid, there's more of them than we expected. This must be their stronghold. In that case, I should also... Oh, this isn't a stronghold. This is just a feeding ground. Don't worry. These undead just got up. They're like insects to me. I'll finish this quick, so just wait over there. You're kidding me. My brain just isn't built to keep up with the unexpected series of events unfolding before me. First, I'm forced to bear witness to this gore-clogged grave of a garage, and now I'm watching a magnificent figure skating display. The combination doesn't exactly leave a good taste in my mouth. Countless numbers of dead wake up, then swoop down upon their visitors. They're torn apart by a single swing of her arm. The fangs swarm in. The dead flesh scatters in all directions. Yet not one drop that sprays falls upon the figure of white, whirling at its center. I've seen it time and time again at this point, but it's still enough to take my breath away. That's right. There was no way those corpses could put up a fight against her. Their abilities are different. Their views are different. Their planes of existence are different. This is what it means to defeat someone with one hand tied behind your back. To be truly peerless. In Arcueid's eyes, vampires that merely suck blood probably look no different from us humans. They're simply prey. A headache courses through me. It's the price I pay for exposing my eyes. But I can't put my glasses back on just yet. Even though Arcueid said that she could take care of it alone, there's still more than 10 corpses remaining. At this pace, she'll wipe them out in less than a minute. But until that fight is over, I won't... Arcueid is acting strange. Her movements are becoming sluggish. She hasn't taken any hits at all. She hasn't even let the corpses get close enough for that. And yet... Each and every time she tears apart a corpse, her face seems to contort in agony. A sweeping wave of devastation, Before I know it, there's only one corpse remaining. There's no longer a need for excessive violence. She can settle this with a single swing of her arm. And yet, as though reaching a final, violent crescendo, without showing even a speck of restraint, the white figure pulverizes the thing that once was human. It's over. At the heart of that bloodbath stands Arcueid, shoulders slumped, straining to catch her breath. That idiot. I don't know what's come over her, but she's wasted too much energy. If she were acting normally, she'd have taken care of them effortlessly, and with only a tenth of the violence. Arcueid! I call out to her from the entrance to the garage. Yeah? How was it? Were you watching, Shiki? This was the last stop tonight, and you were watching me, so I may have gone a little overboard. Are you serious? I don't think I've ever heard a little overboard sound so ominous before. I breathe out a sigh. Jeez, give me a break already. Do you think that excessive violence was simply her trying to show off in front of me? I seriously don't know how to respond to that. I mean, it is true that I was a little captivated by it, but the cheerful atmosphere is cut short. What the fuck is that? What is that? I hate that! It's like Fat Gollum! Oh no! What is that? My thoughts come to a screeching halt. My consciousness goes blank. The thing before me is so outlandish that I can't help but doubt my own eyes. How long has that been there? No. How long had I simply failed to notice it? The Black Panther that appeared in the back alley. The burning corpses. The dead masquerading as humans. I've seen all sorts of strange things these past couple of days. I went through all kinds of new experiences. But they were all things with a basis in reality. Variations on entities that exist in the real world. An extension of things that we already know and comprehend. But that thing is different. The air it gives off is different. The species it belongs to is different. The process through which it came into being is different. That creature is utterly alien. It shouldn't exist. Not in this city, not even in Arcueid's world. That thing is the same shape as a human. What the fuck is that? It carries the same scent as the dead. However, it has renounced all trappings of humanity. It is not a member of Homo sapiens. I sense no sign of the respirations critical for life. Let me try that again. I sense no sign of the respiration critical for life. I can't spot any faculties that it seems to respond to light. Yet my instincts can still understand, however vaguely, that this creature's sole purpose is to prey on others. Even though I've never seen anything quite like this, I do know something that resembles it. A spider. My thoughts are still frozen in place. I can't remember how to use my throat. With a grisly sound, the flesh of its abdomen peels away like a receding tide. Oh, I hate it! I hate it! That unfolding flesh wasn't just the fat from its stomach, but something that solidified into what seemed like arms. The multitude of arms undulates eerily, like the tentacles of a cephalopod. And at their tips... Oh, I hate it even more. Arcueid! I cry out. Sensing something is amiss, Arcueid spins around. One of the unwound tentacles lashes out like a whip, aiming straight for the nape of Arcueid's neck. It happened in an instant, but it still wasn't fast enough to take Arcueid by surprise. Against the same claws that tore those dead to shreds like scraps of paper, the fate of that vulgar whip of flesh is a foregone conclusion. Except, her air-rending claws weren't enough to sever that whip of flesh. Arcueid's glancing blow does little to slow its advance, and it snakes around her white figure before sinking its teeth into her back. I hear the click of a trigger being pulled in my skull. A grotesque dead hiding in wait. Things like that can happen. An unanticipated hardness of its skin. Things like that can happen. Far more repugnant than the dead that came before. Things like that can happen. On top of that, conceited enough to think that it can kill Arcueid, it releases a second, and then a third whip of flesh. That can't happen. How foolish. That idiot. She's not the sort of woman to be bested by a monster like that. If only she hadn't done that. If only she hadn't been so reckless. I can't believe this. She sustained a new wound. She's let herself be driven into a corner. Her breathing is ragged. Her movements are shaky. She just sat there and took a hit that even I wouldn't have been able to dodge. I'm so glad that I didn't put on my glasses. If I had, I might have smashed them to pieces in my fury. The grotesque-looking dead leaps around what seems like excitement. As it stands before the prey it would ordinarily never have been able to reach, a vulgar smile spreads across its face, extending all the way to its cheeks. Don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with me. Do not fuck with me! It's mine. My responsibility. My duty. It's because of me. It's because I killed her that she's fallen to the floor. Yet even though I killed her for no other reason than my own pleasure, that woman forgave me. She forgave my failures as a human. I'll kill you, you piece of shit! I won't let those misshapen maws get a taste of her. I slice, lunging at it, headlong like an animal. With no artistry in my movements, I simply sever it. Am I running toward it? Is it coming toward me? It doesn't matter. My legs will not falter. The second arm is useless. Excuse me, let me try that again. The second arm is unleashed. Unlike the sweeping roundhouse swing that came before, it's a tight fist, thrown such that from my perspective, it looks like a single point. A jab in boxing terms. A technique that involves minimal movement, but exceptional speed. It may lack power, but it moves faster than the human eye can follow, and by extension, faster than the body can dodge. No problem at all. If I can't dodge it, I'll just have to tear it apart as it comes at me. I chase after the fleeing back. The red lines of death go haywire as they're disconnected. I don't even have to think as I efficiently sever each successive line. The creature was doing its best to defend itself, but its left leg is now on the verge of death. The only thing left for me to worry about is its bite, but I've already reached the place where I needed to be. I pierce the rumbling point located in the upper right of its navel. I did not hear any screams of agony as it died. Like a mechanical doll whose batteries had been removed, the grotesque dead ceased all movement and passed away. After finishing the job, I was finally able to breathe again. The surroundings are scattered with fragments of rotten flesh. The dead that I took down has already turned to ash. It doesn't look like anything happened to the dead that Arcueid killed. I guess the grotesque-looking one was a special case. But I killed it. It may have had a surreal appearance, but I took its life without hesitation. I can't think clearly. That was nothing but mindless violence just now. I did not take any of Sensei's lessons into consideration. I simply let my emotions run wild. Even though I knew I shouldn't have, I acted like the killer that I've always feared. Regret, self-condemnation, loathing, disappointment. Once I calm down, I will surely be racked by these emotions. But that's okay. I can live with that. I'd pick that over Arcueid getting hurt any day. Just now, for the first time ever, I used my power for the sake of a single woman, without hesitation, and keeping full control of my sanity as I did so. Turning around, I see that Arcueid's shoulders are trembling, and her breathing is in disarray. Are you okay? Arcueid! I rush over to her. She's clutching at her chest, like she's trying to hold back the pain, panting in anguish, like an animal that can barely remember how to breathe. You idiot! You're too careless. This is all because you acted violently without thinking. Are you okay? Did your wound open back up again? Arcueid's back is shaking heavily. This is awful. It can't be good for her to be sweating out of every pore like this. Thinking she might have sustained a wound on her chest, I stoop down to take a look at her face and... Oi! Jeez, you really are an animal! That was amazing! That was way too amazing! This is terrible. Arcueid wasn't doubled over from the pain of her wounds. She was just holding her stomach to try and contain her laughter. Crying crocodile tears like that. You've been corrupted by society, haven't you? That's right. I was a fool for worrying about you. There's no way someone as strong as you would be in that much pain. How awful. I really was in pain, you know. If I'd been pushed any further, my stomach that was already cut once by a certain someone might have been opened up again. That's just plain dirty. I would still be at fault no matter what I say, so I've no choice but to just stay quiet. Fine. I get it. I sincerely apologize for my actions. Despite that stupid laugh from earlier, I'm glad that you're okay. I retort with a hint of sarcasm. And then, as you can see, she's got that mysterious grin on her face again. What? Something else you want to say? Yeah. It's just that those weren't crocodile tears. I really was happy back then. After all, you really came through for me, Shiki. My cheeks are burning. I try my best to turn my face away from her sudden surprise attack. Huh? What? Is something wrong, Shiki? It's nothing. I just felt a little hot, you know? Seriously, you know? What a flimsy attempt at playing it off. I keep my gaze turned away from Arcueid. I try to hide my blushing cheeks with my hands, but doing so only makes them feel hotter. And besides, what's with that face? Just what is she thinking when she praises my skills as a murderer in a grim situation like this? I wish she had better grasp on the right time and place for that sort of thing. She takes femme fatale to a whole new level. Or am I the weird one for feeling this happy about it? If so, then I should settle down. I just need to collect myself and let the flush from that surprise attack pass over me. Okay, I've calmed down. So, what do we do now? I mean, even if this isn't the enemy's stronghold, maybe we should go inside and search for some clues or something. Yeah, it might be good to investigate before anyone shows up. There probably aren't any clues about the coffin, but maybe we can find the location of the other feeding grounds. Well, that didn't work at all. The pounding in my chest hasn't abated in the slightest. My face is still flushed. Put your goddamn glasses back on, homie. I'm in a daze. Whatever Arcueid's saying goes right over my head. But I don't think there's anything I can do about it. Put your fucking glasses back on, dude! There's not a man alive that could resist her charms when she says such things with a smile on her face. This feeling, this headache, this heaviness in my limbs, it's all because of Arcueid. It's because of your eyes, dummy! Shiki? Hey, are you alright? What an incredible fever. That dead. Was the enemy really that hard to look at? No, it isn't anything like that, but aren't you a bit too close? My head won't work. Although I'm still conscious, my thoughts are sluggish, and my body's senses feel awfully distant. Let's end this investigation here and take a break. Besides, he's not the type to leave a trail, so just destroying one of these feeding grounds is enough of an accomplishment for today. Since he's lost this many workers, he won't be able to do anything for a little while, and soon he'll have no choice but to appear in person. I feel her pull me by the arm. I nod groggily at Arcueid's words, and we leave the gore-smeared underground garage behind us. I sit on a park bench and give my body a chance to recover. After about half an hour, the feeling has returned to my limbs. I wasn't aware of it at the time, but it seems looking at the lines on that grotesque dead really took a toll on me. Arcueid is standing on front of the bench. Ever since he dragged me all the way back here, she's just been glaring at me, as you can see. I think that's the first time he's talked to me directly. That was weird. Holy shit. Listen, Arcueid. My dizziness is cleared up already, so could you stop looking at me like I've done something wrong? Besides, if I hadn't stepped in, your wound would have opened up again. That was just a figure of speech. I would have been fine against a mutation like that. Your body's the one I'm worried about here. Did you already forget what we talked about yesterday? You mean about not using my eyes too much? I get it. I'm not exactly keen on ending up like a cripple myself. I'll be more careful next time. You're way too laid back about this. It's gonna be difficult to instill a sense of danger in you, isn't it? Well, given that you've grown accustomed to having the highest grade of death always at a hair's breadth away, perhaps it's not all that surprising. Seriously, I don't know what I'm gonna do with you. Maybe I have to give you something to really be afraid of. What is she getting so upset about? Someone please enlighten me. If we're talking about high-grade fear, then I felt more than my fair share back when you were chasing me down. And you don't have to tell me that these eyes are dangerous. I'm already aware. After all, I've had to live with them for the past 7 years. Plus, if it's about earlier, I'll have you know I don't normally get so dizzy. It's just that... Actually, Looking back at it, I didn't start feeling dizzy because I'd stared at the lines of death for too long, but because I couldn't stop thinking about Arcueid.
It's just that what?
It's just that I was exhausted from all the walking we did. It may be nothing to you, but humans get tired, you know? Especially after walking for 2 hours straight.
In that case, it's fine, but Shiki, don't you think you treat yourself a little too detachedly sometimes? If you hate yourself because of those mystic... Do you hate yourself because of those mystic eyes or something?
No. If I did hate myself, it wouldn't be because of these eyes. Just so you know, I've never given in to despair. Neither over myself or the world around me.
Is that so? That's a little surprising.
Of course I haven't. I take that fact as a point of pride, a source of strength. Someone once told me that even a person like me has a purpose. If that's the case, then I don't want to lose myself to despair before the time comes to fulfill it. It isn't much as convictions go. But it's that pride which has carried me this far. So I believe anyway. Besides, it's not like these eyes don't have their advantages. Going without my glasses causes a lot of problems, sure. But the fact that it makes me lose my appetite is a huge time saver. I've always been a light eater, so I feel like that works out pretty well.
I can't say how I understand how the loss of an appetite for the mystic eyes has any bearing on your innate digestive
We try that again.
I can't say I understand how the loss in appetite from the mystic eyes has any bearing on your innate digestive function.
Well, sorry. That was kind of a joke. It's a little embarrassing to talk about this seriously.
I'm being serious here. You said that your eyes weren't something that you were born with, but it's possible that they manifested late.
They just manifested late?
Yeah. It takes a mutation for someone to be born with psychic abilities, but that mutation can't happen unless the conditions are ripe for it. Even if nobody in your family ever had eyes exactly like yours, it's possible that your parents at least had something similar. Although mages generally transplant their knowledge and circuits onto their children, there are still many cases where abilities like yours are passed down through genes alone, and can express themselves atavistically? Atavistically.
Sorry. Passed down through genes. So, from my father?
Not just him. It's more like your entire family. It'd be strange to assume that you were the only special case within that entire family lineage. In fact, if you have an ability, it's easy to conclude that it's something that runs in your family. You must have a bunch of relatives with abilities like that, right?
I couldn't help but laugh at such a ridiculous supposition. Is she suggesting that it's genetic? That all members of the Tohno family, that Makihisa and Akiha have these eyes? I can say for a fact that that isn't the case. The only strange one in our family is me. Besides, if I hadn't gotten involved in that accident, my eyes never would have ended up like this. They aren't hereditary at all. They're just a complication. But I'll take your words to heart. Thank you, Arcueid.
Huh? Why are you being so polite all of a sudden? I thought I'd brought up a topic that you don't like to talk about.
I don't mind it. Besides, everything you said was out of concern for my health. Then there's the advanced survey you conducted at the school earlier today. You were doing that because you didn't want me to have to push myself, weren't you? Even though it's tough for you to be out and about during the day. So, thank you. I know I'm in no position to offer my gratitude after taking so long to realize all you've done for me. But let me say it all the same. But now I want to know, how do you feel? Is that wound on your stomach really healed like you said?
Yeah, healed over just fine. Why do you ask? Well, you didn't look too good earlier, despite not taking any damage. You looked like you were in pain, maybe irritated? Just then, I felt a sudden twinge in my chest. It wasn't painful. If I had to describe it, I'd say it was more of an itchy sensation. Shiki? Wait. What's happening? Without quite knowing why, I slipped my hand down the collar of my shirt. Something's there. There's a paint-like substance clinging to my chest. What's this? It feels wet. I withdraw my hand from under my shirt. There, clinging to my palm, is a splatter of bright red blood. Huh? Yet another odd sensation. It takes me an unreasonably long time to realize that it's coming from the old scar on my chest. Shiki, that's odd. It doesn't hurt, and my wound hasn't opened up. But I'm still bleeding somehow. How awfully red. A red liquid so beautiful, so pure, has to be utterly captivating. Maybe that guy from earlier grazed me with his claws. It doesn't really hurt, and the bleeding seems to have stopped, so there's no need to worry. Arcueid's still staring at my hand, entranced. Uh-oh. No, that's not quite accurate. The thing that she's staring so intently at is actually the red blood clinging to it. Arcueid? She doesn't respond. Even so, I can tell her breathing has grown erratic. She's panting, gasping as though she's in pain. Hey, Arcueid! What's wrong? Don't tell me that your wound... I grab Arcueid's shoulder, and then... She shakes me off, as though she's trying to escape. Arcueid? Shiki... She calls my name in a voice that, if only for a moment, contained an edge of hostility. No, something like that, I wouldn't even consider it. Arcueid looks away awkwardly. What's the matter? You're acting strange. Your body, are you still recovering? Yeah, I might have pushed myself a bit too much. So, I'll be going now. Right. Well, you did say that we were finished for tonight. Yeah, I'll see you again tomorrow. I don't even have a chance at stopping her, let alone chasing after her. Without even looking at me in the eye, she kicks off and launches herself into the expanse of the sky above, like a rabbit hopping on the surface of the moon. I climb all the way up the hill from the residential area and finally arrive at the outskirts of the mansion. It's just after 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm struggling to keep my eyes open at this point. I wonder if she's really okay. The way Arcueid was behaving back then when we parted has me a little worried. I get the feeling it wasn't just because her wound was acting up, or that she was tired, but... Huh? Uh-oh. What was that? There, in the space between the two streetlights, in that pool of darkness the light can't quite reach, stands a figure. The first thing I felt was fear. It was such a surreal sight that it made my heart seize in my chest. But unfortunately for it, I've recently built up quite a tolerance against the fantastical.
My heart quietly starts beating again, and I surreptitiously grasp my knife in my right hand. Uh-oh. I feel my circulation switch into overdrive. Am I hallucinating? That's clearly a human being. I simply can't make them out properly, that's all. Their silhouette just looks a little off. They're getting closer and closer. I hear their rasping footsteps. They stare at me with their one open bloodshot eye. I unleash the blade of my knife. I put my hand on my glasses. I feel a chill slowly creep down my spine. With one more step, the figure will pass the point of no return. Suddenly, with a click, the streetlights all go out. Even though the moon is definitely out tonight, the world is suddenly plunged into darkness. I feel my heart reverberate in my chest, as though it were sounding my death knell. A steel blade hones in on the line running down my upper left arm. Conscious thought will have to take a back seat for now. Before the blade scything through the darkness could connect, I swing my knife up from below and deflect the tip of the blade, staving off the attack. The shadowy figure's lips curl. If I were to think about it, I'd understand that they're smiling. But first, I must intercept every strike of that deadly weapon. I'm surprised, sure, but my thoughts are calm. It doesn't feel like a single second has passed since the moment I saw this figure. My thoughts stopped. Time froze. The fact that I'm being attacked this very moment doesn't even register as noteworthy. Sparks fly as the two deadly weapons clash in the dark. A darkness so profound, we each can't make out the appearance of the other. And yet, even in the midst of that darkness, the bonds of life shine ever so clearly. I accurately predict and parry each swing of the blade with my knife. But there's one thing that does seem noteworthy. Despite the darkness, despite the relentless onslaught of that deadly weapon, this body of mine is able to stop each and every strike. Maybe their moves are just that easy to read. It's a possibility. No, that's not it. My arm is simply zeroing in on the lines and points that I can see with my bare eyes. They are the only thing I can see, so I'm just swinging my blade at them as fast as I can. My head hurts. My thoughts glow white hot. My chest twists in pain. My head hurts. The old wound in my chest is burning. My eyes feel like they're about to fall out of their sockets. But I've experienced all of this before. Something just like this definitely happened long ago. It was... Oh, that's right. The blood-stained corpse of a child. The blood-stained crying face of Akia. The bloodstains on my own two hands. The impact of the knife clashing against knife. My instincts take over, and I knock the blade aside. That was close. I let my mind drift for a moment there. But I won't make the same mistake twice. That's because I know that what he's aiming for now. Now that I do, I don't even need to think. I can cut them off on instinct. How do I know? It's simple. Every attack of theirs has targeted one of the lines on my body. As such, I don't need to try and predict where they're going to strike next. I just need to keep my guard up, keep distance between us, and prevent them from taking aim at my most vulnerable lines. As soon as I realized that my strategy was based around that fact. Bastard. You can see them, can't you? I finally understood that this somebody can see the same things I do. The figure's laugh echoes through the darkness. They stare at me with those bloodshot eyes, sneering at me for taking so long to realize. My heart pumps faster still. My lips curl upward as an indescribable mixture of ecstasy and fear brews within me. I see. In that case, we're even. Getting cut would mean instant death for me as well. Not that it matters. Why even think that now? I'll die no matter where I'm cut. But I wouldn't be standing here now if I were craven enough to run from something like that. I mean, Vlad was really something. But with those cold waves of his, this person is nothing compared to that vampire. That's right. Even if by some chance you're the one Arcueid's after, under these conditions, I'm definitely better than you. Attack. Attack. I'm the one on the offensive now. This person is doing all they can to fend me off. In other words, I'm not the one with the back to the wall. They are. Victory will be mine. I don't know who they are. I don't know where they're from, but I'm sure of it. Right now, I'm the one who's in control. I feel goosebumps. My overwhelming advantage is exhilarating. I can win. I'm stronger than this person. I'm stronger than them. That's why, if they were about to kill me, I should just kill them back. I strike their weapon, sending it flying. I take a step forward. The line I must cut is right there on their chest, defenseless. I thrust my blade forward like a fang. But it's strange. Why, in a situation like this, does my hand not hesitate to swing this deadly weapon? Huh? As if in response to the return of the streetlights, my once fervid thoughts abruptly return to normal. Here comes Seal. It's been a while since we've seen her. There's no one in front of me. The figure that I was trying to kill just a moment ago was pierced in the stomach by a long, thin object and sent flying toward the wall around the mansion. That's not Seal's black key. Wait, what? I can't follow what just happened. The figure that attacked me, I guess it was a man. His body was skewered by a pipe-like object that flew in from the side. He must have been hurled all the way to the wall by the impact. If he's human, that blow will have been fatal. But it's abundantly clear that this man is anything but. Don't get in my... A hoarse voice. Wheezing heavily, the man with the skewer stuck through his stomach glares up into space. Keeping a safe distance, I follow his gaze. There. Yes! Let's go! A familiar figure is standing on top of the streetlight. Noelle, Sensei? She's dressed like a priest from overseas. In her right hand, she carries a thin blade, and with her left, grasps an enormous spear that sticks out like a sore thumb. I know that shape. No, a part of me remembers seeing something like it before. Back during the fight with Vlad, that blade was the one that saved me from those blocks of ice. I understand that fact without really being aware of it. Our eyes meet. The woman standing on top of the streetlight smiles at me, and she hurls several of the thin blades in her hand at the shadowy figure. Oh, Temple, appear! At those words, a light rises from the ground. the hum of a blade slicing through the air. She raises her massive spear at the ready. Let's go! And leaps off the streetlight, aiming straight at the man below. The man screams as he's cut in half. The shadowy thing that clung to him is swept away by Noelle's giant spear. Just like the grotesque dead from the parking lot, the figure melts away, together with the shadow. Through it all, the man continued to glare straight at me. His bloodshot eyes were filled with nothing but killing intent. It was as though those black pupils were weapons, and Tonoshiki the sole object of their ire. I could do nothing but stand there in blank amazement. The man, and the shadow that clung to him, have disappeared. Not a single trace remains. They were simply wiped to clean off the face of the earth. Yo, did Noelle just one-shot fucking Roa? That's not what happened before, I think. The cry of insects, the rustle of the wind, the rightful sounds of the night reassert themselves. Even after that sinister scream, the surroundings sink back into the darkness of night, as if nothing had ever happened. Except for the distinctly out-of-place person now standing in front of me.
Good evening. I'd heard that this country was safe at night, but this seems to be a bit of a bad neighborhood. I was just out for a stroll when all of a sudden I stumble across some vampire-like monster harrying a cute little student of mine. Or perhaps things like this simply tend to happen when you're around, Tonoshiki-kun.
The woman in the nun's outfit turns around, without concealing her overflowing hatred and desire to see me dead. She smiles at me. There's no doubt about it. This person is the same Noelle that recently started teaching at our school.
Noelle-sensei?
Well, I wonder if I should still call you that.
That's a great question. I don't mind the sound of sensei, but we aren't at school, are we? I think it'll be easier for both of us if you drop the sensei.
I hear the sharp echo of her footsteps. Noelle advances on me. With a smile still on her face, but that dreadful spear still in her hand, she begins to close the distance between us. Confront her as an enemy or stay cautious but alert. Noelle would never do anything to hurt me. Come on. What are you talking about? Be cautious, but... Uh-oh.
Ha! It's useless!
The moment I take a defensive posture, Noelle kicks off from the ground. My knife's range is no match for her spears. Before I even have the chance to react, the pommel of her spear slams into my side. I guess I was wrong. It hits me with such force that my vision whites out. I feel myself get thrown almost a meter. I hold back the pain and shift myself to take the fall safely. I hit the asphalt back first, but manage to soften the impact with a roll. However, Noelle is already right in front of me again.
That won't do, Shiki-kun. Telegraphing your intent in front of the enemy like that is so naive. It makes me laugh. I'm a bit of a coward, so I accidentally put all of my strength into that strike. Are you still alive?
I go to lift myself up with my hands when... Noelle drives one of her heavy boots into my chest.
Please just stay still for me, okay? Don't get the wrong idea and start thinking that we're lovers now. If you don't behave, I'll snap that neck of yours like a twig.
I just lie there on the floor, glaring at Noelle. I can't wrap my head around this situation at all. But even so, her thirst for blood is no joke, and it's clear that I'm the one she has in her crosshairs. Shit! So you were a vampire as well?
What did you just say? Did you call me a vampire just now? Are you saying that I'm the same as those monsters?
The pressure on my chest increases. This reaction. She seems legitimately angry that I called her a vampire.
No bite marks on your neck. No strong reaction to the holy water I soaked these boots in. And to top it all off, no change in that funny face I always liked. Right. Heresy inspection over. You can stand up now, Tonoshiki-kun.
Noelle removes the foot that she had planted on my chest. Now that I'm free, I stand up and catch my breath. Incidentally, my body is in immense pain, but it seems that I've escaped with nothing more than some gnarly bruises.
Here's your glasses. You should be a little more careful with your belongings.
Is that so? I seem to recall dropping them when you barged in. I take the glasses from Noelle and put them on. Now then. Just what am I supposed to make of this situation?
Well, these are the sorts of dangers that lie in wait for handsome young men that go wandering about and on their...
excuse me, let me try that again. Okay.
Well, these are the sorts of dangers that lie in wait for handsome young men that go wandering around on their own. I was just trying to give you a little warning to scare you off, but I very nearly ended up having my way with you instead.
She grins sheepishly, as if to say, oops, silly me. This is a lot to take in.
Huh? What's with the lack of a reaction? Didn't you hear about us from the vampire of yours? So you haven't? I guess she doesn't think small fry like us are worth mentioning, huh? Well, that's fine by me. I don't like being the subject of attention much anyway. Fine, I'll give you a quick lecture. Simply put, you could call me the Onesan of Justice who protects the city. Something like that anyway. We're a shadowy organization that protects human society from those accursed vampires. Pretty cool, huh?
Noelle chuckles as she speaks, making it difficult to discern how serious she really is. Quality of her explanation aside, what she's talking about does ring a bell. Do you mean to say that you're one of the executors of the church?
Yep, that's right. You're an atheist, right?
Just fucking throws that shit out, Jesus.
So this may not have sunk in yet, but those of the church are dedicated to protecting the works of man in the name of our Lord, even in a country under the latter day of the Dharma, like the one we're in now. The charming, beautiful teacher that suddenly transferred to your school one day was, in reality, an exorcist of justice dispatched by the church.
An exorcist? I think that means someone who purges demons. Leaving aside whether vampires are demons or not, it doesn't seem like she's lying. I understand. This is all so sudden that it's a little hard to believe, but I believe it all the same. This marks the second time it's happened after all. Thank you very much for rescuing me from that dangerous situation.
The second time? Oh, that's what you mean. This time was different, though. I didn't just happen across you when you were in a pinch. I was after you from the very beginning.
You were going after me? From the very beginning?
Yep. I've been tailing you from the moment you left the mansion. My job is to exterminate vampires. If there's a human out there following a vampire's orders, then it makes sense I'd want to keep an eye on them, right?
Her logic certainly makes sense, but she's basing it on a flawed premise. It's not like I'm blindly following her orders. Besides, Arcueid is a good vampire. She's going after other vampires in order to protect the city, just like Noelle. Well, that's...
I mean, normally I just straight to... Excuse me. I mean, normally I just jump to straight...
Fuck. Hold on. One more time.
I mean, normally I just jump straight to killing the vampire. But we're talking about that monster, right? Unfortunately, she'd destroy me if I tried to take her on alone. And my master got sent away by the boss. As such, I had to settle for netting some smaller prey instead.
When you say smaller prey, are you talking about me?
Yeah, if that monster's a rabid dog, then Shiki-kun would be a juicy little shrimp. I think we and the vampires both agree that you make for some tasty-looking prey. But I have to say, I'm a little confused. I've been watching you for the past couple of days, but I don't get the feeling that you're being forced to obey. And it's not as though your blood's been sucked either, right? Hey, Shiki-kun, why are you hanging around with a monster like that?
I frown and bite my tongue. It wasn't that I was intimidated by her question, so much as that something about it rubbed me the wrong way.
Oh, you're not answering? I wonder if it's because you want to be friends with that vampire. I know it's cliché, but were you seeking eternal life?
Huh? I cocked my head to the side at the mention of eternal life. Something like that hadn't even crossed my mind. I see. Maybe it would be more natural to think along those lines. No, but... Excuse me. I can't see Arcueid going after something like that. I mean, she doesn't even suck blood. If she won't do it to create new allies or obtain powers beyond those that humans are capable of, I can't think of anything that might persuade her to.
You weren't? Well, then why?
That's obvious. We're cooperating to hunt vampires and protect the city we live in. Simple as that. I don't square myself up this time, but my eyes are full of challenge. I've no intention of fighting this person. But even so, I make it clear that I will not brook any more bad-mouthing of myself and Arcueid.
I see. If you'd been bitten, I'd have ripped you limb from limb, stuffed you, and put you up on the mantle next to the bullshit you just spouted. But alas, I can't lay a hand on an ordinary human being. Yeah, I'll just pretend I didn't hear any of that.
Noelle turns her back and walks away. Her attitude is unforgiving, but it seems like her let me try that again. Her attitude is unforgiving, but it seems like her hostility is wow, dude, Jesus Christ. Her attitude is unforgiving, but it seems like her hostility has died down. No, maybe she simply lost interest after hearing my response.
Oh, but be warned. I said earlier that I've been going after you from the beginning. There's a deeper meaning behind that. The dead apostle that lurks in this city has already been here for several years. According to what I heard from my master, it's different from the true ancestor, in that it didn't just show up here recently. Not all vampires come from somewhere else. There have been a number of cases where they were hiding unexpectedly close by for decades, often in the homes of the families who wielded the most power in the city. Do you get it now? You said you were protecting your own city. You might be better off abandoning a vague goal like that and focusing on protecting yourself instead.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, you saw it, right? That undead from earlier that was going after you? Not the true ancestor that's going around killing vampires, but an ordinary human like you. Let's meet again if you're still alive, Tonoshiki-kun.
And with that, the woman in the nun's habit saunters away. As she leaves, she casts her eyes over the streetlights and says, Right. Time to up the cool factor by flying away. Ah, but I can't. I can't jump that high without a run-up now, can I? If I could, I wouldn't be human, would I? Loudly announcing her thoughts to me, for me to hear, she descends the hill with her massive spear still in hand. I must say, she's quite the peculiar character. I mutter to myself, dumbfounded. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I shouldn't have. As all the strength drains from my knees, and I fall back against the wall with a thud. But I'm the one they're after? I knew that working alongside Arcueid would mean putting myself in danger sooner or later. But this feels different. I don't know what the reason is, but I have a feeling that it's not related. As the tension fades, my dizziness returns with a vengeance. Leaning against the wall for support, I began walking toward the main gate. My chest hurts. I need to get back to my room before either I pass out or my body collapses out from under me. I can think about the difficult things later. However, the main gate was surprisingly far. I feel the comfort of my headache fading, and the disquieting sensation of my body going limp. With my back against the wall, I looked on as I slowly drift to sleep. What the fuck? That looked like a Tales of character. Yo, this chapter was wild, bro. Alright. So, action-packed, creepy and spooky. Noelle showed up instead of Seal. Yo! What a great change. Anytime they replace Seal with Noelle, it's fucking the best thing ever. Honestly, low-key. Although, I may be mistaken, but I distinctly remember a regular Black Key intercepting that, the ice thing. So I'm pretty sure that was Seal saving Shiki. Because Noelle doesn't like Shiki in any of these routes. I mean, she finds him attractive, I guess, but, like, she doesn't actually care for him at all. Because she hasn't been given any reason to, okay? Because she's not a bad character. Shut up. Alright, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching the VOD, thank you for making it this far. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/BerserkChip, where I upload VODs to previous streams and other cool content. Please follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/BerserkChip. That's BerserkChip with 2 P's because I forgot the password to my previous account. And please follow me on Twitter, where I post stream highlights, fighting game combos, funny memes, and pictures of Noelle. And if you're watching on YouTube, please leave a comment. I love seeing comments. It's the highlight of my day, honestly. You know, compliments, critiques. You love it, you hate it, whatever. I don't care. Just tell me. Alrighty. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.